Time for another edition of Saturday with Seniors. I'm Kevin Thomas, and I'll be your host today. My guest is 90-year-old Helen Mahosky. Now, Helen has been to every single Laurel Festival parade, and she's got all types of stories to tell. I believe her dad even drove her to school when it snowed out in a bobsled drawn by a horse. So stay tuned for some interesting history firsthand on Saturday with Seniors. It is brought to you by Eisenhower's Tioga County Harley Davidson. They've got new and used bikes, sales, service, accessories. And if you're looking for a gift for someone on your list that loves Harley Davidsons, maybe a t-shirt, a mug, a shot glass, or one of their many gifts, Eisenhower's Tioga County Harley Davidson, thank you for sponsoring this edition of Saturday with Seniors. Helen Mahosky joining us, 90 years old. And what grabbed my attention was someone told me you have been to every Laurel Festival parade.
Yes.
Wow.
Every parade.
Every parade. Well,
Yeah.
I want to hear about the parade, but first I'm going to ask a little bit about you, okay?
All right.
So, you were born where?
Elmira, New York.
You were born in Elmira. What year was that?
1932.
1932, huh? Give or take a year.
Yeah.
1930. Wow. That is amazing. And how long have you then from you moved to Wellsboro when you were young?
Yes.
What brought your family to Wellsboro from Elmira?
My folks had a farm about 10 miles out of town.
So your parents were farmers?
Yes.
How old were you when you moved to Wellsboro?
Oh, I must have been 3.
You've lived in Wellsboro a long time. Mm-hmm. So
Yes.
you went to school in Wellsboro. What are some of your early memories of going to school in Wellsboro? Do you remember your first day of school still?
Yes. Had the teacher, I think it was Miss Collins, Charleston. We lived out in the country, so we went to Charleston School, but we're under Wellsboro.
So the old Charleston school you attended?
Yes.
Was there electric in the school when you attended?
Yes.
How did they heat the school? Was there a coal stove? Was it?
Yes, cool. So we have a janitor there that fed the big furnace.
Yeah. So how many were in your class? Was there a lot of students?
Probably 14.
The really small classes.
Yeah.
14 in your class. Wow.
Right.
So what did you like to do as a kid in Wellsboro? What do you remember about Wellsboro when you were a kid? Did you go to the Arcadia Theater when you were a kid?
Oh, yeah. That was a big thing. Yeah, the Arcadia Theater.
How much were movies back when you were a kid? Do you remember?
Quarter, maybe a dime. Yeah.
A
yeah.
little more expensive this world today.
Oh, yeah.
What else do you remember doing when you were a kid in this area? Do you remember any of the stores or places you like to go?
Well, Dunham's, that was the big thing.
So you remember going to Dunham's, and so you went to school in Wellsboro, Charleston School, and then you went to high school in Wellsboro? And where was the high school then? Where it is now still? Or was
Yes.
it? Yeah.
Yes.
What do you remember about going to school then in the high school? Do you remember the building?
Yes.
Did you have a favorite teacher?
Miss Collins, yes.
Miss Collins was your teacher, huh?
Yeah.
Very good.
Yes.
So how did you get involved with the Laurel Festival then? Do you remember the very first Laurel Festival?
Well, my mother always came. We were from out in the country, and she'd park her car down here, and then my dad would pick her up at 6 o'clock in the morning. Mm-hmm. And we've been to the Laurel Festival ever since then.
So do you remember the early Laurel Festivals? What were they like? Was there a parade in the early ones?
Yes. Yes, there was a parade.
What else do you remember? I think there was a circus in some of the parades, too, if I looked at the old pictures right.
Yeah, there might have been a circus up there on...
Up where the old Grange was.
Yes.
I think that's where they used to do the old circuses up there.
Yes.
Wow. And do you remember Winkin', Blinkin', and Nod? I'm trying to remember what year that went in. Do you remember
my gosh.
when they put that in?
Yes, my husband this morning was singing. I was singing that.
Winkin', Blinkin', and Nod?
Nod, yeah.
Uh-huh. Do you remember when the fountain was brought to Wellsboro?
Yes.
They had thousands of people on the green, I heard.
Anyway, yes.
Were you there when
Yes.
Winkin', Blinkin', and Nod was unveiled?
Yes.
Wow. Do you have any old pictures of these things? I'd love to. That's so neat.
I'll check and see. We might.
That would be, I would love to copy some of those if you had them.
All
that
right.
would be so fascinating. So what kind of car did your parents drive when you were a kid? Do you remember what type of car? Do you have a memory of, do you remember riding, or do you have horses? How did you get around when you were a kid? Horses, cars, both?
Yeah, both. We went to school in the bobsleds, and, my dad drove the bobsleds, and we
With
rode.
the horses? And
Yes,
on a bobsled.
horses,
You went
yeah.
to school on a bobsled in Wellsboro.
Yeah.
That is so neat.
Yeah.
That-
Had to wear a homemade snowsuit my grandmother made out of wool. That was itchy.
I bet it
I
was.
remember that.
Did any other kids come to school in a bobsled besides you?
Well, my brother.
Yeah.
But none of my kids. No, I got 6 kids, and none of them went.
None of them went on a bobsled to
No.
school. Did they ever hear this story? This is great. Did they have school buses back then?
I don't believe.
We're going way back in your memory
No.
here. So people had to find their own way to get to school. When
Yes. Yes.
As far as you remember with school. Did you ever meet Larry Wooden? He was the person who started the Laurel Festival. Do you remember Larry?
Oh, yeah.
What do you remember about Larry?
Movies.
Movies. He ran the Arcadia Theater, didn't
Yeah.
he? He's the one who Leonard Harrison helped make the Grand Canyon famous.
There used to be that, Bates Theater?
Yes, the Bates Theater.
Remember that?
The Bates Theater hasn't been here in 70 years. No, I don't remember it.
I guess you wouldn't know.
Maybe it's been 70 years, but that's where First Citizens is now, is where the Bates Theater was.
Yeah.
It was an old wooden theater. I've only seen pictures of it. I've never talked to anybody who has memories of it. You do?
Yes.
What do you remember going there for? What do you remember doing there?
Movies is all I can remember.
They showed movies there too?
Yeah.
And what was it like inside?
It was just a lot of seats and kids and...
Seats and kids.
Yeah, seat and kids.
Wow. And back at that time, too, was there a swimming pool in Wellsboro?
Yes, up there on Woodland Avenue.
Up on Woodland Park.
Park, yeah.
Yeah. So did you go to that pool ever?
Yes. Oh, yes.
I was reading when the first Laurel Festival happened, they took the Queens up to the pool for an afternoon of swimming.
Oh, all right.
So I knew it was around then, but I didn't know. Wow. So what was your first job?
Bowers Drugstore down on Main next to the Penwells. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They had the soda fountain in there then, didn't they?
Yes, that's what I run, the soda fountain.
You ran the soda fountain?
Yeah.
You were a soda jerk. Was that the term?
Yeah, that's what they called me.
Now if you called a kid a soda jerk, he'd get mad at you.
Right.
Who you calling a jerk? Soda jerk is supposed to mix. So you made what, phosphate drinks?
Yes.
What were some of the popular drinks at Bowers Pharmacy? The cow drinks and some of the other ones that my mom used to remember the phosphate drinks. She told me all about them. So you worked there, and do you remember what they paid you to work?
You know, I was thinking about that the other day, what my first paycheck was. No.
I'm guessing probably less than $1 an hour.
Yes, definitely.
Definitely less than $1 an
Yeah.
hour. How old were you when you worked there? Was that in high school or after high school?
Out of high school.
Yeah,
Yep.
so out of high school you worked there. And
Yeah.
What other types of jobs did you do after that? Do you remember? Where else have you worked?
The bakery, Jackson's Bakery, it used to be right up the street from Bowers Drugstore.
On the same side?
Yes.
Tell me about that bakery. Did you were a baker?
Yeah, Howard Jackson.
And what type of stuff did the bakery make? What was popular?
Sugar cookies mostly.
Mm-hmm. So
Yeah.
that was the big item,
Yeah.
the sugar cookies? So you mentioned you went to school in a bobsled. When you were a little kid, Main Street, Wellsboro, was there horses and cars on Main Street?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, there was.
That's so neat. So people would what would people tie their horse just to the side of the road? There was a post to tie the horse to, a hitch?
They had a pair of horses, yeah.
And they would tie them to a hitch?
Yes.
While they went shopping?
Yeah.
Let's go back to the Laurel Festival Parade. So you've been to every single Laurel Festival Parade.
Since, yeah.
As we were saying there, in the early parades, you remember those. Now, were you in some of the parades too?
Yes. Majorettes. We were under the majorettes.
The majorettes or the marching band?
Yeah.
I think you played basketball, someone's telling me here too.
Yeah. Yeah, I played basketball.
What other sports did Wellsboro have when you were a kid besides basketball? Was there football then? Soccer? And I know we're jogging your memory a long time ago.
I don't remember no football, no soccer,
Yeah.
no.
Tell me about some of the other parades that you went to. Do you have any other memories along the way of parades in Wellsboro? Were the parades always as big as they were this year?
Yeah. My dad worked at the Corning Glass Works, and my mother would bring her car down and park it on a side street. He'd pick her up at 6 o'clock and bring her back up home, but she parked her car there so all us little kids would have a
To mark your spot, so you'd have it saved.
Yes.
Now, they didn't park on Main Street during the parade, right?
No.
They took off, but you would stay there?
Yeah.
Do you know how people put their chairs out to mark their spot now? Do they do that back when you were a kid?
No, I don't recall they did.
I'm not sure when that started, but for a long time, they've been putting out the chairs a day or two before the parade
Okay.
to save their spots.
Yes.
Tell me about your house that you lived in Wellsboro. It had electric, I assume. Wellsboro is one of the first towns electric.
Oh, yeah, we had electric, yeah.
Did you have an outhouse or running water?
On the farm, we had an outhouse where my mother and dad, that was cold. Because you had to run from the house to the outhouse to go to the bathroom.
Even during the night you'd run out or use the chamber pot?
The pot.
Yeah. And then somebody had the chore of emptying that pot back in the days.
Yes.
I remember we had a guest on who told us about that. How old were you when you had a phone? Did you have a phone on the farm in Welch Settlement? A telephone?
I believe those ones you ring with on the wall.
The crank up ones.
Yeah.
Just doing the crank up
Yeah.
thing. Yep.
Yeah.
And then you talk to an operator and
Yes.
hold a piece up to your ear.
Yes. Yes.
You got to know the operator, right? You'd have the same operator when you called most of the time.
Yes. Yes. Most of the time. Yep.
What was your first car that you had? Did you get your license when you were younger, or when did you get your driver's license?
I was about 19.
And did you get a car right away?
Yeah, that Chevy, that blue Chevy.
And an old blue Chevy. Mm-hmm. Do you remember how much that cost you? Did you have to save up your own money?
Yes, and I bought it from an old lady up here on a side street.
In Wellsboro, an old lady sold that to you?
Yes.
World War II. Do you have any memories of World War II and what it was like in Wellsboro during that? You're probably about 10 years old then, I'm thinking.
I remember when I was 10, but no, don't remember all that stuff. My husband might.
Yeah, your husband's around too?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He lived in English Center, and they bussed him up to Wellsboro.
Even then, English Center was part of Wellsboro School District. That was
Yeah.
a long bus ride.
Yes. Probably an hour.
In that day, most roads were dirt when you were a kid.
Right.
I think just a few of the roads were paved then, a few of the major
Yes.
roads. So how long have you been married? Tell me about your husband. What's his name?
Victor.
Do you remember where you met your husband or how you met?
Probably cheerleader. I was a cheerleader, but he didn't play basketball, but that's,
You guys were high school sweethearts.
yeah.
How long have you been married? Do you know how many years?
We was married in 55.
Married in 1955. You're going to make me do the math here. Let's see. So that would be 78 years of
Years ago.
marriage. And my math is wrong. It is 68 years of marriage.
I was going to say, wait a minute.
She was looking at me like that seemed like a bit too much there. 68 years you've been married. That's still amazing.
Yes.
Married your high school sweetheart. And how
Yeah.
is your husband Victor doing? Is he doing well?
Yes.
What did your husband do for work when he graduated from school?
He worked for Tri-County Electric.
What did he do there? Was it in the office or a lineman or?
Lineman.
Wow. I'd love to talk to your husband sometime. That'd be fascinating to
right.
hear what life was like for him.
Okay. Yeah, he liked this.
So let me ask you, what do you think about today's world compared to the world that you grew up in? Which would you rather have grown up in? Did you like it better when you were a kid, the world then, or now? Which way of living did you like better?
Well, now, of course, because we have running water now, and we didn't back then. We had to use a hand pump.
You hand pumped the water on a farm.
Yes, and we had to take baths in those big metal bathtubs.
Most people only took a bath, not every day, right?
Right, once a week.
Was
Yeah.
it one day of the week that was bath day?
Saturday.
Saturday was bath day.
Saturday night bath.
And did you change the water between everybody? Or you?
No.
No. Ooh.
We had the same water.
For the whole family.
Yes,
And how did you heat the water for the bath?
on a cook stove. Yeah.
So you'd keep heating it up. You'd have to
Yes.
hand pump it,
Yes.
heat it on the cook stove. No wonder
Yeah.
you didn't change the water for everybody.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so neat. Do you remember how many pairs of shoes you had? Because I also heard back in the 1940s, most people only had like 2 or 3 pairs of shoes.
All I remember was one pair saddle shoes.
Just one pair of shoes, all right?
All right.
And did you go to church?
Yes. Oh, yeah. My people were church people.
Yep. And where did you attend church?
Well, Settlement Church is because my folks run a farm, and
Yep. And that's where your farm was in Welsh Settlement?
yes.
Do you have memories of going to church then? There was no
Yeah,
electric at that church,
yeah.
right?
I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. My mother would always make us a white dress. Yeah.
A special dress for church?
Yeah.
And for things like Easter, it was
Yeah.
extra special, wasn't it, then, to dress
Oh,
up?
yeah.
So where are you living now?
English Center.
English Center, and that's where I guess you've lived for the last 20 or so
Yeah.
years. And you still come up to Wellsboro often?
Not often.
Not often, but sometimes.
Yeah.
You're never going to miss a Laurel Festival parade.
Never.
So if you want to ride in the parade next year, if we can figure that out, would you like to be in the parade next year? We've never met anybody who's seen all the parades. If we could figure out how to get you in the parade, I think it would be an honor.
All right. I'll talk to my husband.
Are you
see
and
what-
has your husband been to all the parades too?
Yes, I believe he has. Yes.
Your son-in-law is saying that he's not seen quite all of them, but he's been to quite a few of them, I
Yeah.
guess is what we're hearing. So maybe the both of you, but yes, that would be really neat. Any other memories or things that come back when you were a kid? What did you do for fun? You didn't have TV, right?
No.
Did you play board games? Did
Yeah,
you
board game, marbles, and
jacks,
yeah.
pick up sticks?
Yes.
All these old games.
Yes. We rode downhill in all winter
What did you ride downhill in?
in a sled.
A toboggan type sled, or
Yeah, Dad had toboggans and horses. Yep.
you pull them back up the hill and
Yep.
ride down again?
Yep.
Do you remember going to the doctor's?
Dr. Webster, old man Webster. Yep.
And did he do house calls? Did he come to your house?
We went there.
His
That
office was in
Up
Wellsboro?
over Dunham's, yeah.
It was over Dunham's. Mm-hmm. I didn't know there was a doctor's office up there. And do you have kids?
6.
6 kids. And do you have any grandkids?
20.
Yep, we got to get you closer to the microphone there. She's leaning
Oh,
back and
20.
reclining. You get around well for your age. She's spinning around in the chair and everything here. And you have about as many great-grandchildren, your son-in-law is telling me. So you have great-great-grandkids, too, I'm being told.
Yeah.
And I
Yes.
guess they're saying we've got about 8 or 9 of those there. It's getting a little...
Yes,
Your son-in-law's trying to add them
yeah,
up. but
I'd say 10.
Your family tree is ginormous.
Yes.
And there's no great-great-great-great-great-grandkids beyond that, right? Not. Well, Helen Mahosky, you have relatives around here, too, I assume. There's a lot of Mahoskys around here. You're related to... Did you marry into the Mahosky family?
Yep.
And what was your maiden name, Helen?
Ingrid.
All right, well, Helen, I thank you for your time.
All right.
This has been really, really interesting talking with you. So many things that I've got to hear firsthand that I've seen pictures of, I've read about in history books, but actually getting to talk to someone who experienced it is really interesting.
Okay.
And riding to a bobsled in school, that just blows my mind in Wellsboro. Taking a stores.
Yes.
All right, thank you so much.
You
It's been
betcha.
Saturday with Seniors
And
on
thank
KC 101.
you.
This has been Saturday with Seniors here on KC 101. Big thank you going out to Eisenhower's Tioga County Harley-Davidson, reminding you that motorcycles are on the road. It's the season, and we want everybody to be safe. They want all their customers to be safe. Keep an eye out for all the bikes out there. And when you're looking for a motorcycle, accessories, sales, or service, you can count on the sponsor of today's show, Eisenhower's Tioga County Harley-Davidson, South Mansfield. And by the way, if you're a veteran and you're attending the Tioga County Fair, they do have free passes you can pick up in person, free veterans passes, free gate passes for the Tioga County Fair for veterans. If you're unable to make it there, you can call us here at KC 101 and we can mail you one. Each Saturday morning, 10 a.m., Saturday with Seniors. If you missed any of this show or any of the past shows, go to youtube.com and you can just simply do a search for Saturday with Seniors and you'll find all the shows, or you can find our channel on there that has almost 200 different videos, a lot of them history related about Tioga County, and you'll find it